So here we go, affinity bias, the last one for today, for this session of our monthly coach. And let's see what affinity bias is about. It is what it sounds like. We gravitate toward people like ourselves in appearance, beliefs, and background. And we may avoid or even dislike people who are different from us. Because of affinity bias, we often gravitate towards people like ourselves. This plays out in several ways in the workplace. Mentors may mentors say they are attracted to proteges who remind them of themselves. When you're young, there is always that thing, oh, what you would say to the 16-year-old of yourself. We have this kind of nostalgic behavior. And when we see something young that looks like us, we feel like we want to help them. We want to help them to avoid to go through the same hardships that we did. So, and hiring managers are more likely to spend time interviewing people who are like them and less time getting to know people who are different. They are also more likely to give people like them a favorable evaluation. How dangerous can that be if you are in a hiring position? Because straight white men hold more positions of power and are more likely to gravitate towards other white men, affinity bias has a particularly negative effect on women, people of color, and LGBTQ employees. Because then white men would always look for another white man to mentor and to support. And we know how important mentorship is in the working place. So here I'm going to give you an example of mentorship and sponsorship. Here's the case. You decide to mentor someone because they remind you of yourself. We talked about this before. And why it matters. Good mentors can make a big difference. And I would say not can, they do make a big difference. Employees with mentors are more likely to get raises and promotions. But because managers and senior leaders are more likely to be straight white men, and because people tend to navigate toward mentoring others like themselves, women, people of color, and LGBTQ people often miss out on that support. That also means your company could miss out on fostering talented employees and also will miss out opportunity to bring diversity to the workplace. What to do? Be aware of this dynamic and let it inform your choices. So be aware of this, and when you're making choice, think about it. Think twice before getting to your final decision. If you are a white man, you're more likely to be in a position of authority someday. That's the odds, not the odds that are the realities of the working place. And this is why we want to change it. You can make the workplace fairer if you're by being thoughtful about whom you mentor. Consider proactively reaching out to a mentor to mentor someone from a different background. Even if you're a man, to mentor a woman. That is so important. We also understand that some men feel uncomfortable or they might feel that it's inappropriate to mentor women for whatever reasons. But there are ways to overcome that. And transparency, talking is everything. So here is my call to all the managers out there or the mentors to be attentive to who they are looking for to mentor. This is all about this affinity bias. If you're a woman, a person of color, or LGBTQ person, you might decide instead of mentor someone different than yourself, then you mentor someone like yourself, because if you remember struggling to find mentors when you were coming up through the ranks, mentor people who were like you, woman, person of color, or an LGBTQ person, your mentoring will be supporting diversity and inclusion. So that is, let's say, the other way, the other side of the coin. Why it happens? Because of this bias, we tend to prefer the company of others who are like us. This can lead us to invest more in people who remind us of ourselves, perhaps because we assume these relationships will feel more comfortable. So this is a big heads up for you. All these biases, go back to each of them, get the examples, and as I said, more in my YouTube channel. I will leave the link there. So learn about them, promote them, talk about them at work. And the important thing that you have to remember again, that bias is not limited to gender. Knowing that bias exists is not enough. We all fall into bias, so we need to take action. And bias, whether deliberate or unconscious, is holding women back in the workplace. And it makes it harder for women to get hired and promoted. It negatively impacts their day-to-day work experience. And finally, it hurts women and makes it hard for companies to level up the playing field and to bring more diversity to the workplace. So this is all for me for this month. I hope you have enjoyed it, and do your homework, go through it, and get in touch if you need more support. Thank you for being here, and bye for now. See you next month.